Okay, so this one is a long time coming. This is the new adventures of Batman, Batgirl from Mcfarlane Toys. We can see the artwork on the back. We got the digital render of the Batgirl figure, and there's the Batcave with Batman and Robin and the Batmobile. The Batcave and the Batmobile. I still need to get those, so hopefully I'll be able to order them sometime soon. I do have a couple more figures that I probably want to get beforehand, uh, but I don't remember which ones. I think I've gotten most of the ones that I feel like I need, at least so far. There's still a few more that I would like to have, like say the boxing Riddler and boxing Batman, surfing Batman. I do have surfing Joker, but I don't have the standard Joker. I have the surfing Joker, and I have the lunchbox edition of the Joker. So I would like to get Joker, man. He's pretty cool. The Batman robot, I think, is pretty cool. I'm pretty disappointed in the Superman figure that they made, but I might still get him just for the sake of completion and just so I can talk about him on the show. But I think they could have done a better job with that Superman figure, if I'm being honest. Let me think. What else? What else do I have? Egghead. I have King Tut. I have Two Face. I have Lord Deathman. So yeah, I guess Batman robot, Joker man, the surfing and boxing and gas mask variants of Batman. I still need to get the standard Robin. That's the one I need to get. I remember now. I knew there was something. It's like the most obvious thing. Like probably the second most important character on the show. uh, but I have other versions of Robin already. Of course, 'cause I have the Lunchbox Robin, and I have the new Adventures of Batman version of Robin. So it's not like Robin isn't represented in my collection at all. But I should have the standard Burt Ward Robin. That's one that I'm gonna get him soon. I think he's gonna be the next figure I'm gonna buy out of this wave because it's even more long overdue than this particular version of Batgirl. So you might recall that when I started buying this line, the very first thing that I did was because they had them in stock on Big Bad Toy Store at the time, and I was already ordering Two Face, I think. But I saw those on Big Bad Toy Store. I went ahead and ordered those and Two Face, and that was what really got me started on the new Adventures of Batman line. Two Face, of course, is not part of that. He's part of the Batman 66, which is based on the comic book, based on the TV show. So Batgirl was not available on Big Bad Toy Store at the time. She was the first figure to sell out of that whole wave. And I did see where they had back ordered her on Amazon, so I could pre-order her. And at the same time I did that, I went ahead and pre-ordered Commissioner Gordon when they were on Amazon. So I got those a while back. But those of you who have seen that video, and if you haven't, you can go back and watch it. You might remember that Amazon had sent me actually the Platinum edition, the Chase variant. And while I was grateful to have this figure because I did think she was a really cool figure, and she's going to be harder to find, I think, than the more standard version since, it's a Chase figure, I still needed this figure for my collection. If I could only have one of these, if I could only have one, if I could not have both, I only pick one, I would have actually picked the gray version because that's what she looked like on the cartoon. Now, aesthetically, just as in terms of if this wasn't based specifically on the cartoon, if this was just kind of like a comic book based Batman line, I would have preferred to have the black costume over the gray costume because I think she looks nicer in the black costume. So I'm not complaining that I got this. It's good. I like it. I love this figure. In fact, this is probably one of the best Batgirl figures I've ever owned. I'm not gonna lie, but I still needed to get the gray one. So when I saw her up on Amazon again, that she was available again to buy, I decided to go ahead and snatch one up before she sold out again, and just cross my fingers and hoped this time they'd just send me the regular version, which they did. So we're going to go over some of the differences in this character, in this these two versions of the character. Obviously, there's a lot of similarities. Obviously, there's a lot of differences, and almost all those differences are in the paint. And we're going to go over all that. It's not just a palette swap, though. There are some differences in how this figure is painted versus how this figure is painted, which I think I touched upon that when I was doing the review of the Platinum version. And now that I've got them both in hand, I can confirm that I was correct in my assumption. But let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and get into opening her up real quick. We'll go over the packaging. Got the New Adventures of Batman logo at the top. Got the little Batman Classic TV series logo down at the bottom. This is a spin-off line or a sub-line in the Batman Classic TV series line. Although it is not based on the TV series, it is based on the New Adventures of Batman cartoon, which also featured Adam West and Burt Ward as the dynamic duo, but doing the voices since it's an animated show. So rather than, you know, them portraying the characters in live action, obviously, they were the only cast members to come over from the original show. Everybody else pretty much was played by either Lenny Weinrib, who was the Joker, Commissioner Gordon, most of the other villains, or you know, in the case of Batgirl, Melanie Britt, who is best known to Gen Xers like me as the voice of She-Ra, Princess of Power. But before she was She-Ra, she was Batgirl and also Catwoman and pretty much any other female character that they needed for that show. So, so yeah, this isn't Batman 66. This is Batman 77, as I am fond of saying. So let's go ahead and see if we can get her opened up. And of course, this side isn't glued down very well because there's not very much to glue down on that side. It's pretty much open over there. But that will allow me to easily peel this off of the package. It seems like it was glued on average for Mcfarlane. Mcfarlane is just like wildly inconsistent in how well they glue the packages on. Either it's on there like with the strongest glue ever invented by man, and it's like molecular bonded all the way through both the plastic and the cardboard, and I can't get it off without ripping the cardboard all to hell. Or it's just so lightly glued on there that you look at it funny and the card's gonna pop out. Unfortunately, every classic Batman that I found in the Superpowers line is like that pretty much. And I really want a carded version of that, just because I like that figure so much. I want one, just one to keep on the card. And you know, I open pretty much everything. but I just, it's just because I like that classic Batman so much. Where did I put my X-Acto knife this time? I know I had it. Is it over? Oh, there it is. It's over on the other side of the table, and I'll tell you why it was on the other side of the table. Because this is not the only thing I'm going to be opening today. I'm going to open this up, and then I'm going to do some things. I've got to do some things with my storage unit, and I want to run by my mom's house because a bunch of my G.I. Joes that I pre-order are coming in, and I had them sent to my mom's house for reasons. And I've got more stuff coming over there later this week, because I did have Recondo and Quick Kick and the Techno Viper and Duke were all supposed to show up today, but for whatever reason Duke got delayed. He's not going to show up till tomorrow. And then for whatever reason, the Superman figure that I ordered from Entertainment Earth got shipped over to my mom's house. I don't know how that happened, but I did order that like really late at night, so I might have just like just put in that address by accident or something like that. Or it might have been because I paid with PayPal. I don't know. But the other thing that I got yesterday You guys are going to be really excited about this. I know I'm really excited about this. Oh, look at that. It's the Mcfarlane Batmobile. The 1989 Batmobile. Oh, it's so awesome. I'm looking forward to opening this, but I'm going to save it for later tonight. So if you want to see that, make sure you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this. Hit the little bell so you'll be notified when I go live and I open up this bad boy. So you're not going to want to miss that. So, or at the very least, watch it later on, after I've already done it. It doesn't have to be live. Is it live or is it Memorex? I don't know. All right, so we got some accessories in here, of course, and it's the same accessories that came with the black Batgirl, only this time they are now in blue. And I do like the blue because it's a little more cartoonish. So she's got her bat cuffs, which are not functional, unfortunately. It's just a prop that she can hold. And she's got her batarang. And these exact props came in black when it was the black suited version, but the gray suited version comes with blue props. You would think they'd be gray because, black suit comes with black props. Gray suit should come with gray props? No, they're blue. And as I've pointed out before, Batman and Robin and Batgirl, usually when they use the batarangs on the show, they were colored yellow on the New Adventures of Batman. Usually black on the Adventures of Batman from the 1960s, but colored blue for whatever reason, or yellow for whatever reason on the 70s version. But in the but they're colored blue in the toys usually. Batman and Robin both came with blue batarangs. This is accurate to the 1966 television show, so I think that might have been why they did that. So you could also use these props with your 1966 Batman, since he didn't come with a batarang originally. All right, so I'm being very careful getting her out of here because I don't want to fray her cape. And she doesn't have any rubber bands or anything around her fists, but they were kind of embedded in the package, and I had to be kind of careful pulling her out because I don't want to mess up her cape. So there she is out of the package. And you can see that she has a color scheme that is very accurate to the cartoon, how she was colored on the cartoon. She had a little bit of blobby something on her thigh here, unfortunately. And I think that's just a flaw in the plastic. So I don't know the best way to fix that. You can probably see that on the camera. I'm gonna see if I can just kind of shave it off with the X-Acto knife. But it looks almost like it's a little bubble that's on there. So I might have to go kind of deep on it. I don't know. It seems like it might be going up the leg somewhat. I was hoping it was just some blobby thing. I might just be able to shave off of there, but it looks like I'm going to have to do a little more shaving. Probably what I'm going to have to do with this is once I'm done with this, I'm probably going to have to get like some sandpaper, like some really fine sandpaper, and just sand all of that down. Maybe some Brasso even. I think Brasso might be the way to go with that. I don't know where my Brasso is, though. I might have misplaced it when I was moving stuff around. But other than that, she looks pretty good. I'm sure I can fix that, whatever it is. I shouldn't really have to. Quality control should have caught that. But oh well, let's move on to talking about this figure. So versus the Platinum Edition figure, the main difference that I can find is, of course, paint differences. But other than just the obvious differences in the color scheme, the way that her eyes are painted are different. Now I'm going to try to focus in on this a little bit, and hopefully you can see that at home on your screen. Hopefully it's coming across in the camera. But look at her eyes. Her eyes are black pupils with black eyelashes. And the whites of the eyes are not painted in at all. It's all just black pupils and black eyelashes over Caucasian flesh-colored paint. So there's no whites, and there's no iris. There's no little white dot to give you a little bit of a reflection there. This is exactly how she was drawn on the 1966 Filmation cartoon. Now, by 1977, they kind of, even though they basically used the same model sheets, they did kind of tweak them a little bit. So they had the whites in the eyes in the 70s version. But this is accurate to the 60s version, which I always really liked that design for Batgirl anyway, so I didn't really mind. Whereas the Platinum version has her eyes painted in a much more realistic way. She has a blue iris over whites of the eyes with eyelashes and a little black pupil in the blue iris. And the blue iris is even like it's like got a darker blue ring around the lighter blue iris. So this is a very realistically painted eyeball on this figure. So obviously the intention was that this was supposed to be a more realistic version of Batgirl, and this was supposed to be a more cartoon accurate version of Batgirl. So you could stand this. I think the intention would be to stand this with your more standard 1966 live action version of Batman and Robin, even though it's not technically a TV show version. It's her Silver Age comic book costume. So I think you're just supposed to imagine, like, if they'd have made Yvonne Craig's costume more accurate to the comic book, this is what it would have looked like on the show. I think that's the intention there. I don't know for certain. It's a really nice figure. I love it, so I'm not going to complain about it. But this is the one that's more accurate to the cartoon. If that's what you're going for, this is the one you'll want. And the Platinum Edition is just a nice bonus to have. But I think this one is more essential in terms of like the purpose that it serves. So let's go ahead and talk about her articulation somewhat. So yeah, the only real difference between these is the paint for the most part. And besides that is obviously this one has a much darker cape than the standard one. This one has a cape that more matches up with the shade of Batman. Although they don't look like they're the exact same shade of blue. Hers looks like it's a little more on the turquoise side. So the cowls match up. They got the same exact color cowl, but the cape coloration is just slightly off. Interesting. All right, so now that we've talked about like the paint differences, let's talk about the articulation. So her head rotates. In theory, it should rotate all the way around, but her hair is going to kind of hinder that a little bit. And this cape, I hadn't really noticed this with the cape on the other one, but it does look like this cape can kind of move back and forth just slightly underneath where it attaches at the neck. So be careful of that if you don't want to move around too much. And it's really the hair that causes it, so she can't look all the way around, but really she should be able to, other than the hair. She can only look up about that far. That's about as high up as I can tilt her head. Again, it's mostly the hair that's doing it. She can look down about that far, so that's pretty decent. She can tilt her head somewhat quizzically from side to side, but not a whole lot. Like I said, I think really the intention with most of the articulation on the necks on these figures is just to rotate back and forth. And if you can get any more wobbling out of that, that's more of a bonus than anything else. So her arms, really stiff on mine, but in theory, they should rotate all the way around. There we go. Rotates all the way around like that. But I'm being careful with it because, like I said, really stiff. And I don't want to force it. Just kind of gently coax it. Never force your action figure joints. That's how you break your action figure joints. Always gently coax it. And if that's not enough, get a hair dryer. I would definitely recommend a hair dryer on this one because she has this non-removable soft goods cape. I would not recommend dipping her in boiling water. But yeah, hair dryer would probably be the best thing for this one if it's a little too stiff for you to move. Her arms can move up about that far. She has a single jointed elbow, which can bend about that far. Pretty good range of motion for a single jointed elbow. But she does have like very dainty ladylike arms. And then of course the elbow joint also rotates all the way around. So there we go with that. And the wrists, in theory, should rotate all the way around. But they do seem like they were a little stuck in mine, but just a little bit of gentle coaxing got them to turn around. I wouldn't recommend even being with the gentle coaxing there if you can't move it. Just go ahead and get the hair dryer. I'm a professional. Don't try this at home. But I do know on this one, her right hand was stuck really bad. And what I did, what I would recommend somebody do if the wrists are stuck on a figure where the wrist is as delicate as this, is use your hair dryer to soften up the plastic, and then just go ahead and remove the hand and plug it back in. And then once I did that, it was able to move around just fine. Sometimes what happens when a hand is painted at the factory and it has the paint on the plug that plugs into the wrist, sometimes if it doesn't dry 100%, it can get kind of stuck in there. So that's why you want to do that sometimes. Interesting thing I noticed about these when I was looking at them yesterday, and I didn't mention it while I was talking about it before, is this Batgirl. And it's not really coming across on the screen too well, I don't think, but trust me, it's this way in real life. This Batgirl has a darker costume, obviously. You know, the blue is a darker blue, and she has black instead of gray. But the yellow is actually a lighter shade of yellow. It's like more of a canary yellow, and this is kind of more of a just kind of mustard sort of yellow. So, it is an entirely different color scheme, and it's darker for the most part, except for the yellow is brighter on this version. I guess they wanted it to be a little more high contrast. I don't know. So anyway, getting back to the articulation, we've been over the whole arms. So she should turn at the waist, but again, that's a really tight joint there. So and the waist should rotate all the way around, but I'm just really nervous about it. It's so tight. But yeah, rotates at the waist, legs kick up about that far and kick back about that far. So if you kick the leg back all the way, and one leg back all the way and one leg forward all the way, you can pretty well simulate a nice Yvonne Craig kick and have her kick the bad guy. So that's pretty cool. And then she does have a single joint at the knee, and bends back about that far. Pretty good range of motion for a single joint at the knee. And then, of course, the knee joint rotates all the way around, but it's going to bump into the other leg that way. And when you got it, you know, like that, it only goes up about that far. But that's an unnatural position anyway. If that girl's leg is bent like that, she needs to go to the hospital. So yeah, I'm really happy with this figure. This figure turned out really nice. I will say that of all the figures that they reused these live action 1966 bodies for to make the cartoon ones, I think that Batgirl does not work out quite as well as Batman or Robin or the Joker as far as matching the animated look. And I think that's just because of the nature of the way that Yvonne Craig's costume was, is that she wasn't wearing like spandex or any kind of stretchy material. This was a material that was fairly, non-stretchy. I don't know what the term would be for that. I'm not an expert on fabrics like that. Like, I don't know what the technical term would be. Like a rigid fabric. I don't know what you call it, but it was more that sort of metallic stuff like they use on Catwoman. And the same way they did it on Catwoman is, since it couldn't really stretch, it was more sort of just tailored to fit the curves of her body exactly. And that's why you have all these seams and everything on there, because they just wanted to fit her tightly as a spandex outfit would, even though it was not a spandex outfit. So, and hence you had like a little more wrinkling in the fabric, at like, the arms and the waist. So there's a lot more wrinkles in her suit than there are on Batman's, since Batman was wearing spandex, like a very primitive form of spandex or lycra or whatever, but it's spandex nevertheless. So he was still wearing tights. Riddler was still wearing tights. Robin was still wearing tights. So they don't have quite as much wrinkle to their costume as Batgirl does, and they don't have quite as many seams on their outfit as Batgirl does. So it doesn't quite translate into the Filmation look as well as those other figures. And I was a lot less critical of that with this one because I'm like, well, this one isn't really like, close to the Filmation version anyway. She's definitely like her own version, just like a kind of a classic comic book Batgirl. And the wrinkles weren't quite as apparent either because of the black costume, but they do stand out a lot more with the gray suit. So if I got to look at it with a critical eye, I got to say that it doesn't quite work as well as an animated figure as the other figures in this line do. That doesn't mean she doesn't work at all as an animated figure. I think she still fits in with these figures quite nicely. So I'm not trying to say don't buy this figure. No, it's a good figure. It's a good figure. You should definitely buy her. You should definitely have her. If you're collecting these figures, you want to have Batgirl as part of your collection. Absolutely. But I will say is that while it is a very nice figure, it does not quite capture the Filmation look quite as well as the other ones, if I'm being honest about it. If I'm turning a critical eye to it. But as a fan, as somebody who watched this show when they were a kid and really enjoyed this design of Batgirl when I was a kid, and I feel like the head sculpt is perfect, and I feel like it did capture the flavor of what the character was on the show, even if it isn't quite as accurate as the other ones. It's still it's still good. It's still good. I still really like it. So let's talk about her accessories now. So Batgirl, as I pointed out before, she has these two blue accessories that she comes with, and one is the Batarang. So there she is holding the Batarang, about to throw it at an evildoer. So can't throw it directly at the evildoer because this is children's television of the late 1970s, and they still weren't ready for their superheroes to be too violent again yet. And then we have the bat cuffs. And like I said, unfortunately, these bat cuffs, they don't open up or anything like that. They're just kind of solid bat cuffs. So you can't have her put the cuffs on the bad guy or anything. It's just a prop that she can hold, and it looks kind of kinky. So some of you out there have dirty minds. You're my kind of people. But yeah, so she does look good holding those bat cuffs. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, let's go ahead and have a look at her next to some of the other figures from this collection. And you've already seen me hold up, Batman and compare her a little bit. You've already seen me hold up Robin, and you've already seen me hold up the Joker. But here is her father, Commissioner Gordon, and you can see they look quite nice together. So that works out very well. And of course, Commissioner Gordon came with this annoying little feller, Batmite. You all know Batmite. Anybody who's watched this show, you can't forget Batmite. So there he is next to Batgirl. Batmite had a little bit of a crush on Batgirl on that show, and can't really blame him for that. And here she is with the arch nemesis of the series, the Joker, and they look quite nice together. And I did enjoy having her kick the Joker in the head, considering what happened later on in the comics between those two and the Killing Joke. And I know a lot of you guys ship Robin and Batgirl. There's what they looked like together. She is quite a bit taller than him. But I don't know if Robin's anything like me. I like tall girls, so I got no problem with that. And lastly, here she is with Batman himself. And you can see their color scheme matches up really well, even though the capes, like I said, aren't actually identical in color, which surprised me. But the cowls still match up. The grays, her gray is, I think, just a hair darker and more purplish than his, but just barely. It's negligible. So it might have just been like there was like, you know, two different runs of these figures, and I got the later version of Batgirl. Maybe if I got a later version of Batman, if they did a run of him on that, he might have a cape that more looks like this and a gray that looks more like this. I don't know. So, but they still look really good together. And then let's go ahead and toss Robin in there. So we have the entire tremendous trio together, and they all look really nice together, don't they? And we can go ahead and throw Batmite in there. Why not? Let me just get these arranged in such a way where I can have them all together. There we go. So that's what they look like all together with this annoying little twerp. So yeah, I really like this Batgirl figure. I'm glad that I finally have her as part of my collection. If I had to, it's one of those weird things. I think this is actually a better figure. The platinum version actually is a better figure. If I'm just judging on just what's a better figure, but the gray version is definitely more essential to your collection. And if you know you could only have one, the gray one's probably the one that you want to have. Even though the black one I do think is a superior figure all around. So, but the great thing is you don't have to just choose one. You can go ahead and buy them both. But it's going to be kind of a crapshoot as to what you get because, like I said, when I first ordered this figure, this was the one they sent me, and I was not expecting that. I didn't order this one specifically. It was just the luck of the draw. They just grabbed whichever Batgirl they had handy when they were packing up my order. And this time I got the more standard version, which I expected I would get the more standard version. You know, I didn't expect to get hit by lightning twice. But I'm really happy that I have both. I would have been happy just to have this one. I would have even been happy just to have this one. If they'd sent me another platinum one, that would have been really weird, though. But it is nice to have both of these in my collection. She is a lovely figure. They did a really nice job with her. I'm gonna have to try to get the purple suited version from the television series at some point. Well, technically that's not from the television series because I think they had some rights issues with Yvonne Craig, so they adapted the her appearance in the comic book. I don't know how the legalese works on that one, but that's what they did. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Remember, later on tonight, I'm going to open up this 1989 Batmobile. I'm really excited about this. So make sure that you like and subscribe, hit the little bell, all that stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this figure. Let me know what you think about Batgirl in general. She's one of my favorite superheroines. Like, you know, she's up there with Wonder Woman and Power Girl. I like Power Girl. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. Thanks for watching. We will talk to you next time. Bye. Come on, you're gonna